hours that I can work with my job and I can talk to you and with additional time. But when like something like Caleb's mentioning, it's like, okay, well, we have this online resource. This is a hybrid class.
This is not a hybrid class. We're talking about the lab, I think. Lab is not hybrid.
This course is hybrid with the laboratory.
No, but the lab is face to face.
We're nitpicking here.
The lab is face to face.
It's erroneous. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about right
now. The real issue is how we know what we're doing.
It gives me an opportunity with what we had, if it was able to show me what I did wrong, okay, now I know if it was a pre-lab, I know what to look for in lab. If it's post-lab, now I know what to look for, because like you said multiple times, everything builds on itself, right? So now I'm not trying to build something with the same mistakes that I'm not aware of until now. Do you see where that may be an issue?
But you get only the written answers that need grading. Everything else, calculations, everything is already pre-graded.
Not necessarily, because some of the questions that are on the pre-lab are supposed to be written in that format, and we are supposed to wait for your
What we do in the pre-lab in terms of calculations is what we use in the lab to do our experiment.
Right.
So we already pretty much redoing this because we are doing the lab.
It does say on the questions about waiting for you to look at the answer and approve it.
It doesn't tell us that.
Yes, but you come in lab and we did this for calculations. How many
doesn't it say that you're supposed to wait for the instructor to look at the answer and approve it before you get another chance? It says it in text.
And we are talking about calculations.
Also, I'm noticing post and pre-lab. How are we supposed to know what we're learning if we don't know what we're doing in the pre-lab?
Exactly.
And then we don't know how we did after the lab.
I agree on the feedback part.
It makes it hard to understand what I got.
What I don't understand is if you don't understand something, why are you waiting for the grade to tell you that?
Well, normally the grade usually in normal classes.
See where we are messing up on. That's when we notice, like, okay, I'm having a problem. It's time to talk to you. If you see something in the grade book that is 80 and above, that's where you're feeling confident in yourself, and you're like, okay, I know what it is. I only need to study one or two things. Whereas you've noticed on the last few tests we've gone over, and I have like 69%. Okay, I can talk to you about what I don't know.
He's making a point, though.
You get all your grades in lecture, right? We're talking about lab now.
No, we're also talking about lab.
We're talking about lab.
We've been talking about lab.
You have all your grades.
We have a lot of chances in this class.
In lecture that you can see them and improve yourself.
Yes, right? When I see dash out of 100 in a lab grade, I just assume, okay, I did the lab. Where is she nitpicking where I'm getting points off? And you're doing your job as a teacher. I'm not going to get on you for that. You're calling me out for what I'm not doing. However, when I just get a grade where it says on a pre-lab, like 36 out of 100, like, yes, I taught you about that. Like, it was a late pre-lab because I explained the situation to you, my browser. I have a 36 out of 100.
But you didn't lose points because it was late.
Okay, well, that was one of the pre-labs that I did on paper and turned it into you. And I asked you before I did, I said, is this good? And you looked it over. Yeah, it's fine. You can do the lab. And when I just see a 36 out of 100, that means that I did not know what I was doing. And I shouldn't have been able to do the lab if I only knew 36% of the lab. So I'm not getting on you for like.
So I like that actually.
But when we see like out of 100%, and we don't know it, that frustrates us because we understand that you work your butt off to get your bachelor's, your master's, your doctorate. You know exactly what we're talking about. But with us, we're trying to fight to get our associates so we can get our bachelor's, our master, and even our doctorate if we want to. And schools don't care if we're studying or we're doing a lot of work right now. They only look at the number and they say, oh, you got this number? No.
That's a different problem of education.
They do look at that number, though.
And if you want to talk about that issue, I have a lot of things to say. You cannot have an A for a 99 and 100 and an A for a 90.
Just
Those
one.
Are completely two different students.
That's not
just one point.
That's a completely different.
Just one point can make a difference, though.
I graduate in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And I understand I'm struggling in your lecture class a little bit. We've acknowledged that problem. I've come and I've taught you multiple times. even in the lab. Well, right now it says I've had a 92.37 for most of the semester, and now you have locked the grade to where I cannot physically see what I have. That worries me as a
I
student.
didn't lock the grade.
Yes, you did. We have it on our screen.
can't see it.
It literally has a lock here. I'll show it
Well,
on.
that was, I didn't do it on purpose that way.
Okay.
It's
I don't know how
difficult
that
to talk about what we got wrong. And
So
what,
right total grade restricted. It's okay. It's okay. I'm showing it right now. So I have that walkout.
I see it too,
So
Caleb.
right there, we're
You're
seeing.
supposed to be able to see your grades
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah, it's like you can't. We see that you put it in, but we cannot physically see what our overall
Fine.
grade
Curious
is.
about
No, that's not,
recipe.
I don't know how that happened, but that was not my intention. I
Interesting.
never-
Yeah,
I don't even know
You
how.
can take the recipe.
It's okay.
Print the whole bunch.
Okay, no, we're just.
Oh, I see it.
Every class or just these classes?
Everybody
Wow.
in the lab.
Not the lecture, the lecture.
I don't mind the picture for presentation. I don't mind the picture for a presentation, by the way. No problem.
I'll check that out. This is not how to. But that thing with the pre-lab, I think it's important. So I will change that actually. So the pre-labs will be graded before the lab starts. So you will have an idea. Wow.
Or at least it will be, the whole point, and nobody here has been asking for easy grades, we just want to ensure that the intelligent, or that the information that we have, we understand it, right?
And we know
So
what
we just want to make sure that we're understanding this material, and our grades reflect that, that's a huge reflection of what we know and what we don't know. That's why we harp so much on grades.
So
You get what I'm
my
saying?
hope would be, especially in the lab, because it's a lot more interaction in there. So when I see you do your titration and I see that you understand the colors, and I feel that you have the lab. And when you're doing that, this is your 15 part, right? And then you get points from calculations, from pictures, from answering questions about what it was in the lab. So the difference is the lab is that interaction, and I would like when, you know what, you feel that I see you did the calculations wrong, right? But everybody does some math wrong. I have some math wrong in my PowerPoint, apparently. And a lot of students are afraid to talk about it. Nobody comes to me, I know about it for years. Nobody comes to me with those mistakes, right? And I'm like, why are you afraid to talk if you don't know something or you don't understand something?
We may not know, we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly, because
Tell me that you've given me PowerPoint
We're
with
not-
bad info.
We're not in the position to correct
You
you.
give me good info.
exactly.
The thing is, like, it's, the information is not wrong, it's the math at the end that it's wrong. Everybody does calculation wrong, right?
And we understand that, but what we're nitpicking.
Huh?
You don't make math
No,
mistakes.
I'm in multiple math areas, as you
I
can
make
tell
a
in
lot,
the test
that's
when
why
we
I
have
need
on our
all
PowerPoint.
And
numbers
this
to
is
give
why
you.
I have the partial credit and I don't like those multiple choice questions that you get the answer and
And we understand that.
you're done.
We
right?
understand that. However, what we're having an issue with is not being able to see how we went wrong and what the correct way to do that is.
Okay, I will accept that. I will have all grades done by, I will try tomorrow.
Well, I mean, date-wise, considering our first assignment was like in August, we could have learned, since our first assignment was in August, we could have learned what we did wrong from the first assignment until now. But since they're all coming in at once,
Yeah.
we just are kind of surprised by what we do know and what we don't know.
I won't cut points if you have continuously doing the same mistake,
Ma'am.
but it's each lab is a different
With all
lab,
due
so
respect, I was trying to speak.
I don't think that would be an issue. If I see repeated mistakes, I won't get any points up.
This one is actually about the final
It
presentation.
kind of just feels like you're grading us based off of if we're doing the lab or not, whether it's correct or not. I don't know.
I see you, I observe you while you're doing your lab.
The process,
I see
yeah.
your results and we discuss them. We say, you know what, maybe you didn't stain them very well. You didn't let it go all the way up. You added too much sodium hydroxide. So I observe.
Well, yeah, we
while
all
you're
make
doing
mistakes. That's
your lab.
nitpicking, but I'm saying the mistakes we need to learn what we made afterward. Like
What do you
where did
mean
we go
afterwards?
wrong with
Like
the
mistakes.
calculations?
Like when you're in the lab, you watch what you're doing in the lab. You learn the theory on your lecture.
Right.
So when you're doing the lab, I'm like goggles. You have to hold these. You have to take out your funnel. You have to wait for the temperature to flat out. This is what we learn in the lab. And big part of the lab is following instructions. And then when you're doing the lab, I am observing and I'm trying to see what you're doing.
Yeah, but the lab's
And we
also a
discuss
learning
that.
experience. Like so
This is your experience.
in
your hands-on
pre-lab,
experience.
so in pre-lab we don't know much about what's going on at first. But then when we do the lab, and then in the post-lab assignment, I don't see much a difference. Like I didn't learn anything from the lab.
This is why you have a pre-lab and a post-lab.
But what about the actual lab? We should be learning from that as well.
You don't learn anything from your lab?
Well, I learned some, but how are we supposed to know
What do
what
you
we're
want to
doing
learn
if
more
we
from
don't
your-
know
So
what
what do
we
you
got on our
feel-
pre-laboratory assignment?
So what do you feel that you should learn more during lab that you are not learning?
What we're doing, getting into, and then also how to do the process.
Like